Hello, hello, and welcome to Momentum Monday with me, Emily McHugh, your supercharged coach. And today we have a special guest. Meet Joey, the cat who decided to join us while he takes a nap while we gain our momentum. So let's see how long this will last. But let's see. You never know. He may surprise us. But anyway, today there you go. It's all about gaining momentum to start your new week, and I hope you have a wonderful week ahead. And so today, we're going to dive right into our topic, which is how to maximize your fourth quarter. I want to share some tips with you, 3 key tips on how to maximize your fourth quarter. So at this time of year, many times people are feeling a little anxious. They're feeling a little overwhelmed that they only have 3 months left, actually almost 2 months and a half left before the year is out. And they may be frantically trying to figure out how to best maximize their time so that they accomplish their goals and accomplish what they had set out to do for this year. And there's always sometimes that feeling that there's so much to do and that time is just going a bit too fast. So I want to share some tips that hopefully will kind of alleviate that anxiety and make you feel more comfortable with the process of winding down the year. So the first thing I'm inviting you to do is to imagine how you want to feel. That might sound strange, but yes, I really want you to take the time to imagine how you want to feel and how you would want to feel not only now, but next year this time. Okay, what is your ideal situation like? You don't want to feel anxious. You don't want to feel rushed. You don't want to feel like you're running out of time. That's how I know I want to feel. So ask yourself that. I want to feel a specific way. Because when you identify how you want to feel, you can actually start to feel that way. Even though the situation around you may not be optimal, you can still start to experience the feeling of how you want to feel. I want to feel in control of my time. I want to feel in control of maybe some possible outcomes. So that's the first thing I want you to do. Imagine how you want to feel without clouding that imagination. Because our theme this month is all about imagination over on Instagram. I'm doing this whole theme on imagination, unleashing your imagination, how you want to feel, and optimizing your imagination to your best benefit. So the second tip is in how to maximize your fourth quarter is what would it take to achieve? So what would it actually take to achieve that feeling that I want, that we identified in number 1, that you're imagining? So what would it take? So what would it take for me to feel calm? What would it take for me to feel productive? What would it take for me to feel accomplished? So those are some examples, and I want you to fill in the blanks for yourself because it may vary depending on your situation, circumstance, and what is your priority. And the third thing I want you to consider doing is, what is the first step in this direction, or what is the next step in this direction? And this is where people tend to get a bit not sure. Like, there's so many things to do. How do I decide? How do I decide which is the best next step, or which is the first step to take? And so it's about prioritizing some of these options that you have. And one of the key things in that is to place things into categories so that you can really more objectively separate them and not lump them all together. And next week, I'm going to have a special. Our Momentum Monday next week is all about how to prioritize. So make sure you come back for that, where we're going to really walk through some tips on prioritization. But right now, the first step is to really say to yourself, with all these things that I have to do, if I only could do one of them, and you're like, no, I can't just do one. I have so many to do. But if you could only do one, the most urgent one that would take the most of your time, not saying things that are going to take an hour to do here or an hour to do there and you'll be done with it and you go on with it, but something that's maybe more protracted time that you have to dedicate to. So that's kind of the projects we're talking about. So for example, if you have tax filings due, well, that you do immediately, you do first, because it's something that's a must. And again, next week I'm going to go more into more depth about how to prioritize. But right now, the idea is really think of that big project or those big projects. If you have one, two, or three of them that are really important for you for this year, the next 2.5 months to complete, what is the first step in that project? And really take the time to break it down. And then that will allow you to start to gain some kind of control over what you can do. And one other tip is to release the pressure from yourself. So there's certain things that have timelines and deadlines, and other things that may have a bit more flexibility, more options attached to them. And so you can kind of have a little more freedom as to what you decide to do at certain times. So when you start to divide things that way, it makes it a little clearer to understand what should you be doing first or what you should be doing next. So for example, October 15th is a tax filing deadline for many people. And so you know that if that's the case, well, you have like what, 3-4 days to get that done. So you do that first. And then after that, you can do everything else. So that's kind of the way you want to start to approach this. And realize that you might need to start saying no a lot more right now because you don't have the time to do everything. And that's the thing. And once you come to that realization that you only have so much time, you start to be way more proactive about what you say yes to, what you say no to, and what you're willing to do. So let me just summarize the 3 tips and how to maximize your fourth quarter. As a matter of fact, these tips you can use at any time in the year. So I encourage you to share your tips below, what you feel is helpful to you. So the first thing I'm recommending is that you imagine how you want to feel. Don't just be swept away by the situation. Imagine how you want to feel. I want to feel right now a certain way, and identify what that is. The second tip is, what would it take to achieve that feeling? What would it take to achieve? And you identify that as well. It would take a certain amount of steps, it would take a certain amount of time, and you come to grips with that and you acknowledge that. And the third thing is, what is the first step to achieve that? And what is the first step of all the things you just listed? And when you do that, you kind of have a sense of a plan of action of how you can launch forth and to approach maximizing your fourth quarter with a more proactive strategy as opposed to just kind of resigning to the passage of time. So I hope these tips are helpful. I invite you back next week, Monday, for Momentum Monday again, where I'm going to delve more deeply into how to prioritize and share more specific tips on the process of prioritization, which I think we can all benefit from. And also invite you to join me on Instagram as I explore on a daily basis different ways to expand your imagination and use your imagination as entrepreneurs to build and grow your businesses so that you can be more creative and have a more productive entrepreneurial journey. So with that, I wish you a wonderful, momentous week. Stay supercharged, and I will see you next time. And thanks, Joey, for being really good. He was really good. He actually behaved very well, didn't you? You don't want to say bye to the people, or you're like sleeping? Okay, he's saying bye to you. Okay, see you next time. Bye. Share your tips below. Like, share, comment, subscribe. Thank you.